I love to pay taxes. Said no Canadian ever. The tax-free savings account was started with a simple ideology where you invest and grow your money tax-free. And when you withdraw it out, it's still tax-free. This is arguably one of the best accounts in Canada that helps you build and grow your wealth tax-free. Yet I see so many Canadians don't use it to its full potential. These are the red flags I'm going to talk about today. Now, these are not the red flags I found on the internet. These are the ones I've seen with my own eyes. So stick around, and by the end of the video, you'll exactly know what to do and what not to do with your TFSA in a world that's full of taxes. Red flag number 1, the ghost limit. Let's take Steve. Now, Steve logs into his CRA account and sees that his TFSA contribution room is $50,000. This is March 2026, and he tells me to put all that $50,000 to his TFSA. Do you think I should just do it? The answer is no. I'm going to ask him questions like, have you made any contributions to any TFSA, even with a different firm this year? Do you also have an automatic contribution going to your TFSA on a monthly basis? To which Steve says, yeah, earlier this year in January, I did put $10,000 to it, and then I have $100 going to my TFSA every month. Now, suddenly, the contribution room goes from $50,000 to $50,000 minus $10,000 minus $1,200. What I'm trying to say is that the TFSA limit that you see on the CRA website is not live. You should never trust it blindly because the number you see there is not updated every day. So it is you who has to take responsibility of keeping a track of your contributions. Red flag number 2, the annual reset. Now this is where the math gets a little complex. Meet Emma. So Emma did her due diligence and realized that she has a total contribution room of $100,000. This is March, and Emma tells me to put all the $100,000 to her TFSA. I do it, everyone's happy. However, she comes back in June and tells me to withdraw the funds because she found a house that she wants to buy. She needs the money to make the down payment. I process the withdrawal and everyone's happy. However, surprisingly, she comes back again in September. The deal did not go through. She never bought the house, and now she doesn't even need the $100,000 anymore and tells me to put it back into her TFSA. Same question, should I do it? The answer once again is no. Emma has already used her TFSA contribution room for this year. She definitely can put the money back, but next year. The annual limit reset happens on the 1st of January, which is a perfect segue to the next red flag. Penalties. Now imagine if I just made the recontribution for Emma without doing any due diligence. Well, in that case, the Canada Revenue Agency charges a monthly penalty of 1% on over-contributed amounts. That means Emma is going to pay 1% of $100,000, which is $1,000 every month till she realizes the mistake and withdraws the money out. Assuming she takes the excess money out after 3 months, that's $3,000 lost that was completely avoidable. Now let's talk about the next red flag. Tax-free savings account or tax-free investment account? Well, I like to call it the tax-free investment account. Canadians don't realize that the TFSA contribution room is precious and it should be used very wisely. Think about it. You have an opportunity to grow your funds and not pay tax on them. Isn't this a blessing in disguise? Do you think wasting this precious room by keeping your funds in it as cash is a good idea? The tax-free savings account allows you to invest in various products like mutual funds, GICs, ETFs, stocks. Let's take an example of 2 friends, John and Emily. They both have a medium risk appetite and they don't need the money for 10 years. So John does not take the time to do any research. He doesn't speak to his advisor and leaves the money as cash. It grows at about 0.5% annually. After 10 years, his $50,000 is now $50,550. Now, on the other hand, Emily, she invests the same $50,000 in a balanced ETF of her choice. Let's be conservative and let's assume that the fund goes up by an average of 5% annually. In this case, the $50,000 goes up to a solid $81,444 after 10 years of compounded growth. Now, who do you think is laughing now? Also, make sure you understand that John did not just miss out on a growth of $28,894. He missed out on tax-free growth, tax-free being the catch here. Which brings me to the next red flag. I'm going to share a true story with you about one of my clients. So this client of mine had a $60,000 contribution room in his TFSA. He chose to invest the entire $60,000 in a penny stock, which unfortunately became penniless. The company went bankrupt. His 60,000 TFSA shrunk down to a resounding zero. Now, do you think he got the limit back next year because the annual reset? The answer is no. The reset happens only when you withdraw money out of a TFSA in a prior year. This loss was permanent. He had to start again from scratch and rebuild his TFSA room from absolutely nothing. So make sure you connect with an investment professional and invest your funds in a portfolio that matches your risk appetite and goals. Be careful and be responsible with your tax-free savings account. Which now brings me to the last red flag: successor versus beneficiary. This is the most common mistake I've seen Canadians make. In a nutshell, the main difference between a successor and a beneficiary is that a successor can only be your spouse, whereas your beneficiary could be anyone from friends, family, relatives, parents, even me. I'm obviously kidding. Let's take an example of Mary and Matt. They're married, both have $100,000 in their TFSAs. Scenario A: Matt listed Mary as a beneficiary on his TFSA. Now, should something ever happen to Matt, his TFSA is going to collapse and Mary is going to get all the cash, still tax-free. However, scenario B: Matt listed Mary as a successor this time. Now, should something happen to Matt, his TFSA is going to roll over to Mary's TFSA without impacting her contribution room. And now Mary has a huge $200,000 tax-free savings account that continues to grow tax-free. This makes Mary extremely happy and excited for the... it doesn't really make her happy, but you get the point. The TFSA is not just an account, it's a finite resource. If treated with respect that it truly deserves, it's a great way to grow your assets tax-free in a world full of taxes.